Almost.
Okay.
I think.
The project's done. You're good. Up the paperwork.
Good. Dwayne, you good?
Yeah, we're recording. We're live.
Call the meeting to order. First on business is, since this is actually our, it's September and this is our first meeting of the year, we got to do election of officers. Anybody?
Nominate Matt for president.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Three affirmative. Did you say aye?
Aye.
Three affirmative. I think we gotta have vice president, right? And then want to make a motion.
Nominate Dwayne.
I knew that was gonna happen.
Anybody want to make a motion on that? Well, all those in favor say aye.
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 Sorry, who seconded that?
I did.
Three affirmative. All right. I guess I get to stand up here and keep talking. Next order of business, approval of the minutes from our previous meeting, which looks like it was actually almost a year, September 26th, 2023. I know Cindy sent those out, I believe, in an email.
Yep.
Everybody get a chance. Okay. May I make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Four affirmative. Moving on. Administrative report, I know she's been sending them out each month because we haven't had them.
Yeah.
Everybody have any questions at all on anything?
No, sir.
Okay. Anybody have any old business? Anybody even remember what we talked about? Any other than what we did in the meetings? All right.
If it's business, it'd have to be over.
Yes. All right, new business. This will actually be opening for the public hearing for the consideration of the PUD concept plan.
If I could real
Yes.
fast, talk some more. We haven't had this since Country Gate. None of you were even born. This concept plan approval for PUD, I want you to understand what you're tasked with doing. The zoning ordinance requires the plan commission to review the concept plan, related documents at a public hearing. That's what this is. And report to the town council in written form within 15 days on whether the following findings or criteria are met, whether the proposal meets the intent and objective of the PUD subchapter, whether the proposal is conceptually sound in that it conforms with accepted design principles in the proposed functional roadway system, land use configuration, open space system, drainage system, and scale of the developed elements, whether there are adequate services and utilities available or proposed to be made available in the construction of the project. Those are the three things you're to focus your attention on in deciding what report to send on to the town council. All right, and then if you find that those criteria are met, the report would be recommending approval. The town council would then act accordingly. But that's what you're to consider tonight as part of this review process. All right.
So can I ask several questions? So has there been an impact study on streets for the traffic, Sawmill Road, Whiteland Road, all that? Has there been an impact study for Indian American Water? Is it gonna, because I know Whiteland has trouble on the east side of town due to the fact they enlarge faster than they can actually supply water. So I know a lot of people are complaining about water pressure, volume of water, and it's not fair to the residents of New Whiteland if our treatment plant, I've heard, is pretty full. I don't know where you guys are. It's not. It's good. So okay. So have you done an impact study? Is the treatment plant susceptible to 400 more homes?
Yeah, so I can speak specifically on the.
Well, let's do this though. We need to let them make the presentation. You're going to decide then whether these criteria are met. I'm just making sure you understand what you should be listening for and what your attention should be focused on. And maybe a lot of the questions will be answered through the presentation, but then you'll have an opportunity to ask questions to the extent that they're not.
Okay.
But I just wanted to set the stage so that you know what your ultimate sort of responsibility or role is in this before they begin. Is that all right?
Okay.
Okay. So, there you have it.
Gentlemen, members of the Plan Commission, my name's Adam Mears. I'm with Gradison Land Development, offices at 6330 East 75th Street. Appreciate you guys getting back together, getting the band back together just for us tonight, at least for this purpose. We've been working on this project for a long time. Lennar and NVR have been involved in it much longer. And we're excited to be here in front of you tonight to go through the concept plan that we've spent a lot of time working on with both staff and all of our teams. I guess I want to tell you a little bit about us as a developer. We're Gradison Land Development. We're an Indianapolis-based land development company. We've been in this business for about 30 years. Owned by two brothers, Mark and Joe Gradison. Mark's here with us today. Mark's son Brian is also part of our company team. He's over there helping out with the AV duties. So we've got, to this point, about 25 developments currently active in different phases all around central Indiana. We've got a couple projects in the Cincinnati area and a couple in Charleston, South Carolina. But clearly our bread and butter is central Indiana, and we're happy to be here with our first project in New Whiteland to present it to you today. The property that we're looking at, we've got this PowerPoint presentation up there. Sorry to make you bend your neck, but if you want to zoom in on that, Brian, if you know where the sewage treatment plant is, you know where this property is. This is several parcels brought together that surround this sewer treatment plant. Again, off of Sawmill Road and County Road 500 North are kind of the main intersections there. So that's where the location is. Currently, it's you go ahead, Ryan. Currently, it's zoned agricultural at this point. There is one home we're buying that's on the east side of the property that I'll show you when we get to our concept plan here. That clearly is zoned residential. That's part of this. And we're proposing a PUD for a variety of reasons. Number one, PUDs allow flexibility, and kind of repeating some things that Lee talked about at council, but the idea behind a PUD is not every development fits into one box of whatever your traditional residential standard is, with one lot size, one particular lot width, lot depth, setbacks. We generally utilize PUDs when we're working with multiple products, which we are in this case, and varying lot sizes. So it really doesn't fit into its own box. So the PUD is kind of creating a new box for us to be able to create the standards that fit this particular development. It allows for different lot sizes, but a lot of these, again, are similar to other communities in the area. We're gonna have common areas significant that we're dedicating as part of this project. We're gonna have great amenity at this project, and then there are also standards for development that we have to follow as part of the New Whiteland zoning ordinance. I will say that one of the other benefits to a PUD is that your zoning ordinance does not have a significant amount of architectural standards, and that's probably overstating what's in there. There's just not a lot of architectural standards. So part of the PUD is we add architectural standards that our subdivision is going to be bound by, that again, compared to what you have for architectural standards, are significantly more than what you currently have, because you really don't have any. So we're committing to certain architectural standards that if we just went a straight rezone, we wouldn't have to do. So it's about give and take between a town and the developer in these projects, and a PUD is kind of saying, hey, we want some varying lot sizes, some other things that don't fit in a perfect box, but we're also willing to commit to some other architectural standards that you don't have the authority to generally require us to do if we just went a straight rezone. Next, the concept plan, and again, I probably should have altered it to landscape, but Brian can zoom in, at least Brian, zoom in further south, just so we can see where the and if you guys, I don't know if they have a copy of our PUD, I didn't bring, yeah, if you got that, it'd be great. The colors matter a little bit, but I can talk through that. primarily, again, the idea here is we're gonna have two builders, Ryan Homes and Lennar, and we're gonna have, five different products. The purpose for having so many different products, again, we wanna hit a variety of clients. Not every resident wants the same thing. So to have a variety of product, in an area that has 400 homes, it allows us to meet a much wider range of buyers. Down in this southeast corner, these are townhomes. This is Lennar, doing multi-unit buildings of townhomes. These are not rentals, they're fee simple ownership. And then here, we've got single load townhomes that will be front facing the street. They'll be rear load facing out of the street. We'll get to the product, what it looks like, but a good looking product that I think is gonna look great in here and buffer the buildings there. Over on the left side here, these are all in orange. These are Ryan Homes on this side. And I'll show you some of their products. And over here on the right, Lennar's got a couple different products they're gonna be putting over there. I think the total number of units is around 420, if I'm correct. And again, we'll show you those different products as we go through. Some things to point out about the concept plan again, and I'll get into some different lot sizes and lot widths. The areas are, again, primarily divided east and west by builders. To the west is Lennar, to the west is NVR, Ryan Homes, to the right is Lennar. Lennar's gonna have 2 products on that northern side, and then of course 2 different townhome products on the other side of that drainage easement there. The amenity, I'll get to the amenity, but we are going to have a pool and a pool house, which I don't know if the last time we talked to Matt and Dwayne, we kind of recently decided we're gonna with that number of homes, we need more significant amenity, and we'll show you what we've done before, what we think it'll be a great fit for this area. Look, this area is unique, right? It's with the sanitary plant there. You know, we're trying to design this plan with products that we know meets the market. Most of these products are going to be in the 270 to 325 range from a sales price standpoint. It's hard, I'll tell you, it's hard this day and age to build anything, sell anything under 300. But the idea is to try to get some product sub 300, and then you'll have a lot of things that are in the 320, 330 range. And we're excited about this. Talking about traffic, we have done 2 things. I know Matt or Dwayne can probably talk about what their engineer looked at, which I know that he looked at some traffic stuff. We also use a company called A&F Engineering. That's kind of, I would really describe them as kind of the big traffic engineer in the state. They do most of a lot of government work, and they do a lot of residential development traffic engineering. We have a letter from them that I know we forwarded to you guys yesterday, talking about, again, without doing an incredibly deep, full traffic study, they took traffic counts and came out and saying, hey, we know these are a few things you're gonna need here, and as we get further down the zoning path and then deeper into the planning of the development with more detailed plans is where a lot of that stuff shakes out. But from the concept plan, yes, we have worked with traffic engineer for this letter, and I don't know, Matt and Dwayne, if you guys handed those out to anybody or passed those as part of their packets.
I did not.
Basically, I'll read to you the paragraph. Yeah, Mark, I'll let Mark talk about the traffic briefly, because I want to make sure you guys understand we've gone through a lot of this stuff.
So, Mark Addison, Grassland Development. So, Adam's great at the zoning side of things, but when it gets to the more technical side of things, that's more my strong suit. So, as you mentioned, Steve Fairbach, who's the owner of A&F Engineering, and one of his guys went through and did a calculation for what they felt like was the number of units that were going to be coming and going from our property and the different entrances that we have. The total numbers of AM peak hour into our site would be 69, 205 going out, and then 231 coming in the PM, and 138 going out. That's for all the products. We then did a look at the north of the creek, which has then got 3 entrances, one to the north to the existing subdivision, then one on Sawmill and one on 500. Those numbers came down then because obviously it didn't have the townhomes part of it. That came into, I'll just read through them, 53, 157, those are the AM numbers, 183 in, 107 out in the PM. And then I asked him, you know, again, not doing a full traffic impact study, this is just a prelim look at it. I asked him how he felt about the entrance to the north and how much traffic he thought would go through there, and his numbers were 5 in the AM going, coming in from them through our site to go south, 16 going outbound, and then in the evening, 18 coming into our site from that neighborhood and 11 going out. So those are the numbers that they came up with. Again, not full-on traffic impact study at this point. We need to get to the zoning, but those were the numbers that they came up with.
Really what that also translated to in the letter was just some general improvements he noted would likely have access points should be developed with 2 outbound lanes and 1 inbound lane. Access point on Sawmill and County Road 500 should include left and right turning lanes. Proposed access points, again, part of this letter, without, again, the full-blown traffic study that as we get further down the process.
So that's going to look like A-cell, D-cell lanes like are currently on 75, basically.
I'm going to let them talk about the sanitary and utility side of things. I know their engineer looked at those things. Let's go to the architectural standards real quick. I want to just simply briefly talk about those, and if you could zoom those in, Brian. One of the first things we do is we create a homeowner association that we're in control of, but is professionally managed. We make all the decisions for architectural reasons, but we have a professional management company that's in place that handles the billing, the communication, and we've got too many developments to be doing that everywhere. So we have a professionally managed company. It's listed in our covenants that we'll have that they have to have a management company at all times. Dues are set, and we do a really good job of setting our neighborhoods up when we turn it over eventually after we get out of the development to make sure they have a financially stable subdivision. With 420 some units, again with the pool, we haven't calculated what the dues will be, but again we have a really good team to do that. We've got, again, like I said earlier, there's not a whole lot of architectural standards, if any, in your ordinance. So we have some minimum vinyl thickness we talk about roof pitches, we discuss dusk to dawn lights that need to be out on the front of each home. I just realized I don't have my glasses, and this is way too small for me to see. Brian may want to read a few of those.
We have a non-monotony clause that will include that we don't have 3 single-family homes adjacent to each other that are the same color, same elevation, and so forth.
Sorry, Brian. The idea behind that is to, again, make sure that you don't drive in and see 15 of the same homes in a row. So we separated 3 on either side, 3 across the street. So you don't have the same exact elevation, color, going down the street. The other thing you get, again, with the varied lot sizes, is it doesn't look like, again, one big row of the same houses. You've got varied lot sizes. You're going to have varied width of houses and product, again, which creates a really nice streetscape. We give certain things that you can't have, for example, no carports or covers for vehicles. Vehicles can't be parked on the grass. We don't have a lot of power over parking. we always put stuff in there about parking on the streets. As you know, the streets end up getting dedicated to the public. They're public streets. There's not a whole lot the HOA can do about public streets, but we do our best to at least put in some guidelines with the hope that people will at least understand that they need to be respectful of every other neighbor. We do a lot of fence approvals. We dictate generally one type of fence. Normally what we do, it's a 4-foot wrought iron fence. You're not gonna see 15 different fences in this neighborhood with varying sizes and colors. The idea for us is to have uniformity. Everybody's gonna have the same kind of fence. And in our opinion, it makes the neighborhood look a lot better. No temporary houses or trailers, no above ground pools. All front facades have to have some type of window grids or special treatments. Again, we do our best to try to add architectural features that we require. You know, we do these architectural standards because we want to make sure that our builders are following, you know, the items that are important to us as developers. And of course, they've got their standards as well that they follow. So those are just some of our architectural standards that we agree to. I want to get into a little bit of the architecture, again, some of the product. Ryan Homes has, again, a couple different products. This is generally, it's a cottage style product. Again, been very successful where we've built this product. And you can see they've got some architectural features like the garages and we do require all the garages to have some type of windows on there. Again, we think it adds a good look to it. Keep going, Brian. Again, difficult to see, but Lennar's got various products that they'll build, both 2-story and 1-story product. And then I'd like to show the townhomes. And I know we're going to get more into the PUD, I think, at the next meeting, but these are the townhome buildings. And those on the left, Brian, zoom in on those. Those are the ones that will be out fronting County Road 500 in Sawmill, right down there in that lower corner. You know, in our opinion, it has a great walk-up feel to it. It has a great look from the street to be able to see a row of these homes. I think it's a really attractive product with, again, that rear load garage. And I think it helps the streetscape from both Sawmill and County Road 500, where you're not looking at the back of big townhome buildings. This is what you're seeing on the front, is this frontward facing up against you know, the common area, and we're excited about that product as well. Next, I think we've got amenities. To show you, this is an actual pool that we did with the pool and a clubhouse. This was or bathhouse. Sorry, yeah, it's not necessarily a pool house. Just a bathhouse with pool gated. That is an actual photo from one of our developments up in Noblesville. This is a Lennar development up there. So to add a pool to this development, I think it's going to be a great amenity for these people. And then let's go back up to the concept plan, Brian, and just open it up for questions about what we can answer about the plan. Again, a variety of product, both in width and go down, Brian, a little bit and zoom in on those standards just so we can see on the, no, right there, just the bottom, green, yellow, green, orange. See what I'm talking about? Yeah, thank you. So this just shows what lot widths we're looking at. On the west side, those will be 52-foot wide lots on the orange that are Lennar, or sorry, that are Ryan Homes on the left side. And then Lennar will have 2 different products. One of them on a 46-foot wide lot. It's a, what's the width of that product? 30.
On the
46-foot lot.
we get a 12 and 6.
No, what's the size of the product, the footprint?
A 34-foot.
34-foot product. So this is a 34-foot product on a 46 wide lot, and then a 54 wide lot. So we've got 3 different lot sizes. Again, as I said, it helps a streetscape when you have different varying lot sizes. You're going to have different products. You're not going to just see one big long row generally of of the same house. And then again, we've got 90 of the attached townhomes that are on the inside and 27 detached that are out facing the street. So that's our concept plan. Happy to answer any questions. Again, we've got people from Lennar and Ryan Holmes here if you have questions for them. And be happy to answer any questions that you have.
So I'll just dive in a little bit on your questions before I do anything. As far as on the utility side, we had the engineering company do a capacity study on the plant, and I had this out for the other meeting. Didn't get it out for this. Just want to tell you good numbers. We had room. It's over there, I think. It is, if I remember right, we are at about 62 or 63% capacity right now. By adding these 400, and I think it was actually 431 homes in, sorry, Mary sneezed. It would take us up to, I believe it was around 76 or 78% capacity, is where we'd be at. In that study, they had said over the next 20 years, they looked at some of the possibilities of development that could happen around us over the next 20 years. They're going to say that obviously we reach capacity, and would recommend for future growth another 500,000 gallon plant, and that would accommodate what they see over the next 20 years. Obviously, I don't know what, not a whole bunch more growth. There is potential, I know, but I know there's a lot of people chomping at the bit, I think, out west of us, other municipalities that are wanting that as well. So I know that answers that. As far as the road stuff.
As far as the road study, we will be doing a road study before everything is finalized. We're smart. We're stupid not to. But that's coming. It hasn't been done yet, but it's coming.
What about water service? Have they reached out to the American? Do they have the availability and
Right. I have not. I don't believe I got it wrote down.
by chance reach out to IW?
We wanted to get through. We wanted to get through this initial concept plan. Generally, we will have a discussion with Indian American Water. There's a lot of standards now that require us to loop our system so that it keeps pressure up. We have not had any problem in Whiteland, just so you know. Again, we're adding another 91 to what did we have before, 102? Yeah, we've got, let's say, 250 some odd units that we've got there. We're just adding another 90. We haven't had one issue with anything over there. Again, I don't know what they've done with that industrial stuff that gets further out east, but residentially wise, we haven't seen any issues with anything and haven't heard from them. But clearly, as we get further into more engineering down the road, the water company will be part of all of our discussions, as will everybody. But from a concept plan standpoint, we don't have all that stuff engineered and worked out yet. But clearly, we have to take that into consideration as we move forward to make sure that nobody's negatively impacted.
It's open. It's a public hearing.
Is there, I didn't really pay attention, I couldn't see in the small pictures, I know you just said we don't have much of a thing, but what kind of brick facade do you have for the houses?
Most of them are not brick facades. Again, they're cottage style product that don't incorporate a lot of brick. I think Lennar's product has some, or does it not?
I was going to say, I think the majority of Lennar's had brick facade on it. I don't believe any of the Ryan homes had anything.
Ryan's product does not have any brick on it at all, or stone. Again, it's the type of product that's called cottage style that just generally doesn't have it on there. But Lennar's product does have some.
If you really can't see it in the very first photo with the White House in it, there's actually two different features on the front of it. The bottom side, I think it's up a little bit more. The bottom half of the house is board and batten. with, vinyl siding-esque type material over top of it. So it kind of creates a little bit of a different architectural feel there.
Again, for us, you gotta weigh the right product in the right location. Again, we think this is a great location, but it does have a sanitary, sewer plant right there as well. So it has to be the right product there that meets a price point, for that area. Again, it's, that Ryan is building this product all over town, and it's a successful product. So, we're committed to it, and it looks great when it's up and done.
Any questions, sir? Since it's public hearing, questions from the public, name and address for the record, please. All right, there's no more questions from the public. Again, anybody up here, anything else? Questions? All right, I am gonna close the public hearing at this time. So I think, Lee, we just need to give either a favorable or non-favorable.
Yeah, so I guess I think the way you could proceed would be for a motion to be made to submit to the town council a written report from the plan commission that reports that the plan commission finds that the concept plan meets the intent and objectives of the PUD subchapter of the zoning ordinance. It is conceptually sound and conforms to accepted design principles in its roadway system, land use configuration, open space system, drainage system, and scale of developed elements, and that there are adequate services and utilities available or proposed. If there was a motion to find that those elements are satisfied and to send a written report to that effect to the town council with a recommendation that the concept plan be approved, then we would write that report and forward it on.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
So I do have one question. The last part you just said about adequate utilities. I
Yes.
just want to make sure, since we have not, I know that they're going to go to Indian American Water about it. Is there any issues there that you could think of? I mean, do we need to make it any type of condition?
There is water at the site, just so you know.
Is that, I mean, I guess, so that's all really we need to make sure that.
Well, but I think that in this case, it's saying whether there are adequate services and utilities available or proposed to be made available.
Okay.
And I think they're proposing to make them available.
Okay,
Right.
all right. So you want to make a motion?
Make what he said.
Anybody want to, second that motion?
Got any concerns?
Yeah, you're fine.
I'll second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Me, I just don't feel comfortable with what they're saying, so I'm gonna be a record.
Okay. So, how's that work? Is that,
We don't
you don't have a,
we don't have a majority vote.
Was it not 3-1?
Yeah, but the majority is a 7-member board. So it would have to be.
I guess what's concerned? I mean, what, just,
Well, I guess, they haven't convinced me that everything's, gonna work the way it's supposed to. I guess I can say, go ahead, but how do you stop this? Cause I'm not on the council. So, so basically what I say here now just goes on deaf ears.
Well,
Basically, I just don't know that
right.
that area there is gonna be able to support what and not all the traffic. I just know what Sawmill looks like now. So, I just see it because I live right there. There's nothing against them building there. I live there. I see what's going on. So I know you'll sit there sometime, watch car after car after car after car. So I'm thinking, how do I know that? And then I watch the Tracy Road and Sawmill now back up all the way, or even there at Ashland, and Sawmill backs up almost all the way to 31. So I'm just not comfortable that this many 400 homes are going to have at least 2 cars. If they got kids, 3 or 4,
Right.
that really that can support that. You know, I just see it. This town's, you know, I drive through it every day.
Right.
So I have concerns, but if you guys say you're doing all your studies, I guess I can let this push through and take you guys' faith that you're gonna figure this out.
Well, I think, Lee, now, I mean, this is an end all be all. I mean, there's going to be more checks and balances once these. I mean, I know, like I said, I know I've got the sanitary study from the engineers and all that stuff, and things like that. There's, I mean, even I would hope from our end, you know, from what he said, you know, I would feel, I guess I just would have feel that there is going to be more checks and balances. That just because we approve this doesn't mean that, oh, yep, it's going to happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so, yeah, to respond, and not to persuade you to change your mind, but this is a concept plan approval. If there is a recommendation to the council to approve it, and the council approves it, the developer then has to submit a preliminary plat with much more detail that is subject to the review of the plan commission and the town's own engineers and consultants, who will do sort of a tech review and make suggestions on changes, on conditions, on commitments, with an eye to traffic flow and utility availability and drainage, common space availability, architectural standards. All of it will be subject to scrutiny and review by folks with letters behind their names that we would choose to do that on the town's behalf. A written report to the council by the plan commission that you find that it meets these criteria of the PUD ordinance is simply allowing it to advance forward with every opportunity along the way to say no. It just simply allows it to move on from this point. That's what action by the plan commission tonight means. I offer that as explanation, but again, not as
I get it.
not as persuasion.
And I'm glad you brought it up, because I'll be honest with you, I assumed that would be okay. Hey, we'll get more of these studies in. You know, there'll be that place to negotiate that stuff, because I'll be honest, if that wasn't the case, I don't know that I would even be comfortable with it, because I don't, you know, I'm not an expert on knowing what the impact that this is going to have on traffic, you know, and I agree that, you know, I see it throughout the day, the traffic and things like that. And I think, you know, I would probably be in agreement with you if we weren't doing those studies. So I guess also with Lisa and I will make sure myself that we have a way out if things don't align like they should, I guess.
I just don't, I'm concerned about going through to have all the information that you're looking at right now, the cost on the cost burden for the town to do that at this point. You know, that's a substantial amount to hire an engineer to go through that. Now, obviously, at some point we would get reimbursed if it continued through, but I don't know if for some reason it come back and the traffic study said, you know, you got to do this, this, and this, and they pull out. Is the town then going to be on the hook for all of that? I don't know. I'm new to this process. The town itself hasn't done this process in a long time. I think we're going about it the right direction. But I just don't know that having everything that you're looking for right now is the right course of action at this junction.
As Lee says, I guess I can change my vote to it can go to the next step. If we're just approving the concept, but
Well, and
I might want to sit on some council meetings and listen to what's said from this point forward.
Well, it's going to come back to you as the plan commission. The preliminary plat is coming back here, not to the town council.
Right.
It's fine.
You all will have to approve it, not the town council. And let me read, when you say the information to be provided in the detail, the developer, the petitioner, is not required to submit more than a concept plan. And in fact, they probably have submitted more than what the ordinance requires. But in reading from our own ordinance, when we look at concept plan approval or this report, that the Plan Commission can send on to the town council. It says that the Plan Commission, need only concern themselves with general conceptual merit, and in no way shall commit any future acceptance or rejection of detailed design elements required in subsequent phases of plan review. And so I think what that's communicating to the applicant is conceptual approval means only that. You can advance to the next stage. And then it is really a traditional platting process, like it would be for any other subdivision. The difference will be as a PUD, and this to me is, I hadn't thought of this, should have, and you asked the question too a bit about a PUD and development standards and what we have in our ordinances compared to what would be presented. But the architectural standards that are woven into the plat covenants and the declaration would be much more extensive than what we would have in a just traditional subdivision plat. That could, well, they could.
Yeah, right.
But they wouldn't.
If we were just
Right.
rezoning this,
They
we would just rezone it, or if it were zoned just as straight residential zoning, you're right, our covenants wouldn't,
Well,
wouldn't add a lot of more burdensome development costs.
You could, to enhance your marketability and all that
Yeah,
stuff,
sure.
but as a PUD, that's part and parcel of the process, is when you end up with a PUD master plan and PUD ordinance, they do have a set of architectural standards that, because New Whiteland in particular has an old zoning ordinance that we don't need to use very often, when it was written in 1989, that wasn't something that found its way into zoning ordinances back then,
Sure.
as it customarily does now. And what we see is unified district ordinances. They're not even called zoning ordinances anymore. That is something that is brought to this proposed development that wouldn't be brought probably in a more traditional sense.
Can I ask a question? Yeah. John Purdy, 45 Brent Monroe. So you've got a 7-member board, there's 4 here. Are there 3 vacancies or just 3 people that aren't here tonight?
Just not here.
Okay, so there are 7, okay, there's 7 filled seats.
I think I don't know whether they could have been here or not, but in an effort to try to move this process along a bit and combine it with the council meeting, it's a special meeting, not a regular meeting, and I don't know whether those folks would have been here at a regular meeting night or not.
We're on vacation and one could make it to work.
Okay.
I know it's hard to, it usually seems like every time we have a meeting, it usually seems like there's only 4 of us at some point in time anyways.
It's hard to get people to participate.
So I guess does it make you feel any more comfortable, or, you know, as far as moving this forward, you know, cause.
I'll change my vote, you can move forward.
Okay. So we need to just revote, or?
I would-
I'm saying that.
I would say a motion to reconsider the motion previously stated because it's unwieldy, and a second to reconsider.
Motion to reconsider.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, and then
Opposed?
and then an actual vote on the motion, because you just agreed to reconsider it. Then you need
Okay.
to vote on it again.
I'll make a motion that we send a favorable report to the town council to move forward.
To approve the conceptual plan.
Yes, thank you.
Second.
I'll second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? 4 affirmative.
So I'll put together a written report for your signature as president that will state that the Plan Commission has found that these standards have been met and recommends that the town council approve the conceptual plan. And then the council will have to do that or not do that. They're not bound to follow your recommendation. If they do, then the plating process begins. And it comes back here. Okay?
And I just want to double check all the different studies and all that stuff and things like that. That would need to happen. Basically, we would want that information before the preliminary plat, before it comes back to us. Correct? That's when that's when we want to kind of set those standards and all of that type of stuff.
Adam will submit a preliminary plat and a petition for rezoning and a petition for plat approval. Once it lands here, I think what you intend to do is a technical review of that plat.
Utilities should be there as well. I mean,
Yeah.
You should have water there.
You can look at the ordinance and see what you have to include on that plat. I mean, it's all set out.
But everybody will come into that meeting, and you'll have your engineer that goes over those plans, and then everybody sits down together from, safety, making sure we have the right width of streets for fire truck, whatever it may be. So fire, police, and safety are all involved. You generally have all the utilities there to chime in on whether or not they have the ability to feed the system without hurting, the rest of the neighborhood. And then the traffic engineering is, it's one of those things that's just a science. And the science is gonna come out with a report that says, here's what improvements need to be made, here's what we think traffic's gonna flow in and out. Generally, if needed, we'll have a traffic engineer here to talk about their findings. Again, we wanna make sure you guys have all the information you need as we get to that point where we're a little bit further down the road engineering wise. And we'll wanna make sure you have all that information at your fingertips as well to be able to make an appropriate decision. So we appreciate your time very much, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I think, we actually got two more things on there. Moving forward, there were some issues kind of that came up, Lee, when I had conversations with Lee about some other things, he had brought up that we needed to, look at, I think it's our ordinance on like garage sale signs, correct?
Yes. So, there was, let's see, how'd this happen? Joe Reinierson called about taking down signs that were posted around advertising garage sales, and so I got to looking at the zoning ordinance. Because I thought I had some kind of memory of us kind of allowing signage for garage sales. If you look at our sign ordinance, our regulations for signs and like temporary signs and that sort of thing, we don't have anything carved out for garage sales. But when we adopted in 2019 some new restrictions in the zoning ordinance for garage sales, I mean, we had people that were having them every week, and they were essentially running a store out of their garage. And I think that's what brought everyone's attention to it. And did we want to limit the number they could have and the hours and all that kind of stuff? So
Isn't there one on Delbrook right now that does it every day, pretty much?
Yeah, I think so.
Around the corner of Delbrook and whatever, I can't remember the name of that road, their whole front yard's full of stuff just sitting there. They have sales.
That's a violation.
He's addressed them several times.
Well, he needs to address them differently.
Well, and I noticed, bring up, I noticed there's one out at either the Lennar edition or the Beezer edition out there, that they had a sign. They had a big yard sign. It's in the county, so there's nothing we can do, I guess, about that. But it's promoting that they basically have a Halloween store, out of their garage. And then they had little garage sale signs now at the entry point of going to the neighborhood. But, you know, when I went in there, I didn't see it. I tried to figure out where it was at and never could figure out where it was at. But, and I don't know if it was just they were running it last week and now it's done.
Just one day.
I have no idea, but yeah, they had one of them big old black signs that had neon letters and all that stuff.
I think
Halloween
I think what they
stuff.
didn't sell, they shot off the other night because it was another 4th of July out there the other night.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you hear it too? It was nonstop for about an hour and a half.
It's in 2019 or something. Think we're,
Well, I'm looking on what's proposed to the town code.
Can we go back to that? It's an ordinance.
Well, absolutely.
It just didn't get in the new book under
Okay,
temporary signs.
so here, thanks. So looks like we amended our sign ordinance. I'm looking at the town code that says, if a garage sale is advertised by the use of signs, the number, size, and so forth will, the sign ordinance, the sign code will apply. And then when you look at that, I don't see that. I mean, we look at temporary signs and portable signs and all. You wouldn't be able to advertise a garage sale. But Cindy's now pointing me to ordinance 1068 that was adopted in 19, which probably was maybe done in conjunction with the garage sale ordinance. And here's what it says. Here's what we have now, right? This is what we know to be a current ordinance. Right?
It gets a little muddy, that's why we have trouble with it. The one I gave you, I think, ordinance 1068, mine says it was passed in 2003.
2003?
Yeah.
Okay, well then we didn't need to change it.
No, but I think then we got mixed up trying to just do how many garage sales they could have.
Yeah, well, we didn't change anything on signs. So I think we believe this to be right. Signs advertising the sale of miscellaneous household items for the purpose of a residential garage sale shall not exceed 4 square feet. They may be erected on the premises 1 week in advance of the sale and be removed within 48 hours after the sale. If it's a coordinated neighborhood garage sale, 1 temporary sign for each entrance to the neighborhood, not more than 20 square feet, shall be permitted. No permit is required.
So that's what we
currently
have.
now.
Okay. So,
And if you're all right with that, I don't think we need to do anything, other than maybe have this find its way into the town code online at some point.
Do we see the need to make it a requirement that addresses are listed on it?
Yes.
And the only reason I say that is from a code enforcement standpoint. You know, if there's a sign left out there, 6 weeks after it, there's no recourse for Bob to go to.
or know whose
It's
it
not
is.
supposed to be anywhere but the premises. One sign on the premises.
That's what this
They put it
says.
on corners
It
everywhere
can't
else.
be remote, unless it's a coordinated neighborhood garage sale.
So it's not supposed to be anywhere.
So
They're
then
there
I-
every day. I mean,
then I have another little bit of an issue. And we can leave it the way it is, but here's my issue. At some point, we become like an HOA and we start too many rules and regulations that obviously can't be enforced, or that it's just a menial task that doesn't get enforced. Why do we want to have it on the books?
Well, I mean, I'll bring up the garage sale that I'm assuming this was all kind of stemmed about. Their property sit back off of Warwick a little ways, and they had to sign at Warwick. I get where, like you're saying, it's hard to promote a garage sale when you're back tucked in a neighborhood. Nobody knows it's there,
Except the people living
except for the people that live in the neighborhood. I don't know that I would have an issue with them having signs outside of it, as long as, they would have to have permission from the property owner, whoever it's in. But I don't see any issue of having it outside of it. But at that point in time, I think you have to have addresses. I would say address and date.
Yep.
Because at that point in time, when Bob goes and drives down, he could see, well, this was the date that it was. Okay, we were giving them 48 hours. I think that's actually too much, to be quite honest with you.
What kind of recourse is he gonna have to be able to go after? are you gonna have a fine for his time of actually having to take it down? I mean,
Well, but
is there
that's-
gonna be a fee? There ought to be some type of fee.
Yeah, I mean, I would assume it would.
If you're gonna go to that extent, he should be able to write a ticket that says, you owe us $50 for my time of going out taking this.
Yeah,
down.
I would agree exactly, and I guess Lee would probably be the best because it's not something that I know what all Bob has the authority to do, but I would assume that.
He has the authority to enforce the town code.
Right. So I mean, and I'm sure that that's if he wanted to, there could be a ticket involved in that.
Yep.
Okay. But that's kind of my thinking is something along those lines.
So what we say, if it's a coordinated sale, if the garage sale is coordinated neighborhood garage sale, one temporary sign for each entrance of the neighborhood shall be permitted. We don't right now allow, if I'm having a garage sale, I can put a sign in my yard, but I can't put a sign anyplace else.
And again, I really don't have a huge problem with it. I just know that if I was going to have a garage sale in my house, you know, it's tucked back in the neighborhood.
Well, you wouldn't.
Unless
You
you're
could
having
advertise.
unless you're having a neighborhood sale, nobody knows you're even having
I'm
it.
so far back in there, nobody ever goes by my house.
Exactly. You know, and that's kind of my thing. And I know that kind of maybe adds up maybe a little bit of clutter, but as long as our code enforcement officer, Bob, at this time is making sure we're monitoring that and being pretty sticklers, I think it wouldn't be a huge deal, you know, as far as to allow remote signage.
But how many and where?
I think we follow the same rules and regulations as it is for one per entrance to this subdivision. So like if somebody was in Raintree and had it, they could post one at Warwick, one at Ashland, all with the address on it, and one, if you so chose, I mean, to be honest with you, to get into Raintree, you can come in through Hilltop Farms. So you could put one at 25 with the address on it.
Got the dates
on
and the
private
address.
property, on someone else's private property?
Well,
I would say, is there any, I mean, you have to have permission from,
Well, our most corners though are city right away.
I know.
You can say private property, but as Mike say, you know, yeah, you more maintain it, but it's still city property, city right away.
I mean, how is that any different than this guy that goes around every Thursday or Friday and puts 10 or 12 signs out in the median? I mean, Greenwood's got the strictest no sign policy of anywhere around, and they've got signs all the way up and down 31.
They put them out on Friday after 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
Why
And then-
nobody's
and when
working.
everybody's gone home,
Yeah.
and they pick them up. They pick them up Sunday night in the middle of the night before anybody comes to work on Monday.
Exactly.
You know, everybody knows
Unlike-
they do it. You know.
I
Right.
like Dwayne's idea. It's got to have the address. It's got to have the dates. Cannot be affixed to the telephone poles because there's one hanging at 31 and Tracy Road right now that's been there for 4 weeks.
I would say telephone poles or street signs, because
Yeah.
I've seen them hanging
Well,
on street signs.
and the thing
too.
is, if they do put them there, and if we have it on the books that this is the rule,
they just get tore down.
I don't feel bad, Bob, Joe, anybody else that's out. If it does not abide by the policy, it gets thrown away. And then when they come complaining about it,
I honestly think we need to ease up on some of the rules and regulations and doing this. I mean, they're doing it anyway.
Yeah, and I know, so what I will say is I do think we got to put a number to it, because I know Sydney's going to say, I don't have a vote, but I seen her head shaking because I know she was thinking the exact same thing I had. What do you do about the people that live in between Tracy and Whiteland Road that have, and you know, there's 20 entrances into that area.
20 garage sales in there, there's 20 signs out here.
Yeah.
You know,
So
things
put
like
a,
that.
put a max on it.
Right.
So put a max
yeah,
of 3
think,
signs.
But
But
again,
again-
we do. But again, I don't know that it really matters because, I mean,
Who's counting?
right?
Do
Who's
people-
really going to
do
go
people
over
advertise
and
garage sales on social media and rely on that more than
Some.
There's a lady in town who's doing that.
Some, but
Yeah,
honestly, you see a lot of these telephone poles with them, you know, garage sales on poster boards stuck to a telephone pole.
I just want to say that the one time this place was a mess, they do glaze, I give them credit for getting it all cleaned up. But I'm also on the Wayne side, there has to be a balance because these people,
Yeah.
we're not a great, rich community. They want to make a couple bucks on a garage sale. Like Lisa's already worth the trouble. I mean, you didn't say it this time, but, you know, there has to be a balance and I agree there should be a number of signs. and they should be down right away.
Put it, I don't see put 3 signs on there. 3 remote signs, a maximum of 3 remote signs.
I don't know, I mean, keeps it from somebody setting up 20 of those daggone things somewhere, you know, I'm
But
sure it's
here's
gonna be
the,
hard to go
here's,
4 or 5.
here, okay, so now here's where I'm gonna play a little bit of devil's advocate. It's not a street sign, or it's not a garage sale sign. But we, as a town, now I know we can go do, but we're not setting a very good example when we've got community cleanup day that we're getting ready to do, and we've got 50 signs that we're getting ready to put
But
up.
we're allowed to do that for a public interest event.
Yeah, that's different.
It is, but I get what Dwayne's saying
I
is
see what
people
you're
don't
saying,
look at it,
but
they're
I
like,
mean,
still.
if you're
well, the
talking
town
about the
doesn't
jewelry,
like
talking
it.
about the policy, I don't know what you're talking about. But
Yeah, it's just it doesn't. If I'm a resident, it doesn't look good. Well, I got fined $25 for having 4 remote signs when I only supposed to have 3, but yet the town can go through there and place 50 signs.
But the difference is the signs that we're gonna put out are for the benefit of the
I get it.
town, not for the benefit of me, necessarily the homeowner that's gonna make $100 off my garage sale.
I totally get it.
Yeah,
I just
it's an optics thing.
yes.
It is, and I get that, but it is, to me, that's easily explainable. We have council meetings the first Wednesday of every month. Anyone wants to
Yeah.
complain, come on, complain. I don't have any problem explaining that to them.
Okay, that's fine.
are you getting complaints about remote garage sale signs?
I don't even know that a person would
people
know what a
put it
remote
in.
garage sale sign is. They're thinking something with it's got a remote. It's got
No, I'm saying,
No,
is
but
anybody
here-
complaining about garage
Only if
sale signs?
somebody
No,
come
but
back and
here's-
raise
Nobody's
it.
complaining, it's us that know the rules.
But here's the deal.
They're complaining they don't get to do.
We had this conversation when Jeff first walked in today. And I'm sorry, and I gotta agree with you to an extent on this. Our town's beginning to look like crap.
I mean, it's just,
Because
it's a
we're-
shame. I've been here for almost 30 years. My house is about paid for. I just almost want to move.
So-
I mean, because you drive down like there on Sawmill, the house has got all the junk in the front yard and everything, and the house is for sale right next door.
Yeah.
So okay, so who's going to buy that house? Is somebody going to buy that house like me that takes care of my yard, or the person right that looks just like? So it just keeps breeding.
Exactly.
It keeps
Yeah,
breeding.
no.
100% agree to your point, and I'm going to add on to it. I got home Sunday night from being on vacation, and I live in Bargersville. My next door neighbor came to me and said, "What is the deal with the house at that particular location?" So if you've got people outside of our town complaining about it, we've got a
I
problem.
mean, we got problems here, period. I can take you, I go on walks, just walks. I can point out several cars that's got flat tires in the driveway. They're not even got license plates that are registered. That shouldn't be there. I got trailers sitting in the front yard, just pushed in the front yard and left. You got cars parked zigzag across their front yard. It is a disgrace to this little town that used to be so pretty here.
Well, on the garage, back to the garage sale thing, because we just went off on a tangent.
But I'm
I
passionate about
agree
it.
100% with what
It's
you
just
say.
code-
You know,
it's just
I
code enforcement.
drive around from work
Yeah.
and all
Just
stuff.
right there.
So I'm fine with whatever. I do think we ought to allow remote signage, and I
you
think
should
we ought
allow
to set
signage too.
a maximum
As
number on it.
long as there's ramification if they don't come back and get it. That's all I say, because there should be some ramification if you don't come back and get it.
Yeah, exactly. So, just make a motion, Lee, on that, or
Why don't we see, yeah.
is there
if you know what-
something, because it's an ordinance change, is there some type of a public, do we have to do more?
There really is. So what I need to do is get an ordinance written and bring it back when we're gonna meet again.
So we'll figure out when, if
Yeah.
the developer, they're gonna schedule, that'll probably be the next
Yeah.
one.
Meeting next week. It's council.
Well, it has to be a planning commission first.
No, that's what I meant. I was thinking.
So we'll just make
meetings
sure we
going on.
have an ordinance wrote up for the next meeting.
And so, right now, not a on-premise sign 4 square feet in area. A week ahead of time, that okay?
Yeah.
Remove 48 hours after the sale. If the garage sale is, then we would say, in addition, 3 temporary signs, not more than 20 square feet in area, shall be permitted 1 day prior through 1 day after.
Yeah.
And required with the address and date of sale.
And for clarification real quick, on the last step when we were talking about, stopping people from basically having a store, we currently don't allow, because I don't want to see somebody put, November 4th through October 31st. Well, technically they would meet that requirement at that point in time.
With permission.
We limit how long they can have that sale already.
That's right,
with
and
another
how many they can
ordinance.
have too.
Okay, all right,
So 3 remote, 1 day before till 1 day after, not to exceed 20 square feet in size, with permission of owner of property on which sign is located.
It's
4x5.
I think it's,
That's a pretty big sign.
Big
That's 4 by
sign.
5.
Yeah, that's a 4x5 sign. Nobody's gonna put a
I
garage
thought
sale
we,
sign.
I thought we said
Oh.
4 square.
I think 4 square feet would be it.
The 20 square feet, I think, was for
like the
community.
big-
I'm not
Community
thinking about what that looks like.
Yeah, I'm like, man, that's a
Right.
billboard.
Well, that's what I'm not gonna lie, I'm glad somebody else said something, because I was kind of
And
thinking
the
I should have
owner
spoke
person
up.
with permission of the property owner,
Yeah, I would say.
and address and date of sale, address of property and date of sale.
Yep.
Well, but doesn't that take care of itself? I mean, if they're directing someone to their property, they have to put the address on there, no one knows where to go.
But they don't. They'll
They
put
just
an
put an
arrow.
arrow.
They just put an
What
arrow.
they do now, they
And I think what that allows is if they have to put it on there and it's up there 3 weeks after, Bob doesn't have any problem taking that sign and saying, hey, this is your sign, it's a $25 fine or whatever we decide.
Right,
yeah.
Okay, I'll see about putting something together.
okay.
Thank you.
What else we got, Mr.
So the
President?
last thing is, hopefully it should be fairly quick. I just wanted to discuss fee schedule for some of our permits and stuff. It was brought up a few different times now with Tim Brown being, kind of doing the building inspecting stuff. He's really familiar with Bargersville and stuff, because that's what he does there. So he's always had questions on some of our fees. And then the one that was kind of, that was brought up to, I think it was Cindy, and she brought it up to me last week, was room additions. We do not charge right now we charge new construction, I think it's 10 cents a square foot. Well, on additions, we don't do that. So basically, before I go and waste a bunch of time talking with Tim and just digging into it, do you guys have any hesitation of me going in and looking these fees and all that stuff and trying to do some comparing and talking with him and try to get things
I think
a little more accurate for what we have around us?
Yeah, we need to quit giving
So-
stuff away.
when was the last time that we did the fee schedule? What,
It was
5 years ago?
It was right after you and I started on the plan commission.
So,
I know.
I
So
mean,
it was
we-
probably about 5 years ago.
We look at some of our bigger stuff that the council looks at, on a 5-year basis. I think we ought to consistently do that with ours.
Right. So, that's really all I wanted to bring up on that. Just like I said, I didn't want to waste a bunch of time if there was nobody really wanted to look into that. So, anybody else have any new business? All right, the meeting is adjourned.
But you guys are thrilled, aren't you?